Hello, 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 beautiful people of Facebook. This is Janie Crick, tuning in live. So today is Monday. I realized that we were supposed to meet this morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and it is well past that. It's my day off, and I've been tuning in with the energy of what these morning meditations mean and why I am feeling the need to hold space in this way, and if it's necessary right now. So build your own spirituality and like tuning in with that energy and what's being called in. I completely forgot. I completely forgot about this morning's meditation and woke up with ease and felt really grounded and did a card reading for myself and had some breakfast and spent some time with my sister Abby, catching up and tuning into upcoming events and that sort of thing. And it has become something where I'm like really tuning into when these videos are necessary or when I'm trying to produce something in order to keep up with some sort of expectation that I hold on myself, some sort of consistency that I'm trying to uphold with you all and with people that I'm working with. It's very clear that my message has been that I am here to help people to find their spirituality and to find their own growth and their self-love and to encourage people to step into that place within themselves. But it's also been very apparent that it's going to happen organically. So I've been feeling that these morning meditations, that they're going to shift a little bit, and I'm going to be moving more into video meditations that are not live, but that these live videos are going to be more less meditation and more around checking in and seeing how people are doing and what's going on in your lives and how you are transversing the things that are happening. I had this conversation with Abby earlier around I just need to be talking about what's going on in my life right now, which I've had some aversions to in speaking about that. But she was like, we need to be talking about what's going on in our lives right now because we are pulling in the energy of the collective. Everyone's moving through these massive shifts. Everyone's moving through these huge life-altering feelings right now of instability and unclarity and not knowing what's next. And that's because the earth is moving through a Saturn return right now, and we're also ascending. We're also moving into a higher vibration. Something that came through around I had a vision the other night when I was going to bed, and I was thinking about all the things that are happening politically and with Trump, and how it appears to be all these things that are just falling away. All of these protections around things, all of these laws that have been put around protecting the land, but also laws that have been put into place that aren't taking care of the people. And I'm realizing, the government and what the government holds for us is this codependency. We have felt the need to have this government for a long time, and in a lot of ways it has been really serving. But the message that came through was that everything is falling apart, and it is so we can rebuild new. And that's why the message of building your own spirituality is so important right now, because you have to find out where your piece is, how you can contribute to society, how you can actually put forth effort to making this place a better place without having to depend on other people for that stability. And I know that this is a very overarching concept right now, and it's something that feels just we're not being supported, but the support comes from within. It comes from us. It comes from us deciding, I think that women should have access to health care. And since the government's not doing it, it doesn't mean that I have to depend on them for doing it. But it does mean that I can form a group with women and I can decide I want health care to be accessible to women. We can do this. We can make it happen. It doesn't have to be something where we're give us money, government, because we are manifestors and we can make things happen like this. And that's just one example. The example of education, the education's like all of these systems that we have in place that have been in place for hundreds of years are failing. They're falling apart. And that's something that's very obvious with this Trump administration. And so with the falling apart of all of the structures that we have, it is important for us to decide what we want with our lives and to build what we want to call in, to build what our vision is without having to go off of the programs that have failed us this far, this long. And so that's just something that's kind of been coming up for me is, how am I contributing? How am I contributing to this world? And so I wanted to share with you the things that I've been doing lately to kind of tune in and see where everyone else is. I went on a pilgrimage last year, beginning in May, and it's crazy to think of that, but I ended my lease. Yay, hi. I ended my lease in May of last year in Chicago, and I had no intention of moving from Chicago. I just knew that I needed to follow spirit. And so in May of last year, I finished my lease. I got a sublet where I was living. I ended up stepping out of a relationship with a really beautiful human that actually really catapulted my life into a spiritual direction, but was kind of shifting. That relationship was shifting, and so that relationship ended, and I went through a complete grieving process. But I also went through this pilgrimage of how am I spiritual? How am I connecting to spirit? And so in May of last year, I began traveling. I went down to Nashville to visit my family. I went back up to Chicago, and then with a group of beautiful goddess sisters, I went out to Wyoming to a Star Knowledge conference. The Star Knowledge conferences have been a big part of my life ever since then. I met Soul Family, I met my Star Family, and I remembered that all of these struggles that we have as humans are based in a lot of the programming that we have been taught, but also the karma that we are releasing because of the programming and because of the giving away of our power. And so I have been regaining my power. I have been connecting with not only human beings, but I've been connecting with ascended masters. I have been connecting with angels. I have been connecting with shamans. I have been connecting with chiefs. I have been connecting with beautiful, powerful beings that are here to help, whether in physical form or in multidimensional form. But it has been something that's coming in so strong. So I went out to Wyoming to go to what is called Devil's Tower, but is really the grandmother tree. It is this ancient tree that is massive. When you walk around the parameter of the tree, the base of the tree, it's more than a mile walk. You can look it up online. It's a magical place, but it's said to be a Pleiadian outpost. And so we went there, and not having any idea of what we were getting into, we just knew we were going to a Star Knowledge conference, and maybe it was about astrology, but no, it was about our star relations, our family. And all of these ancient indigenous cultures have used the stars as their spiritual connection for eons, for ages. The Egyptians, the Celtics, the South American indigenous people, the Native American indigenous people, even over in all of the Asian countries, they've been using the stars as a form of connection. And there's a reason for that, and that's because we come from the stars. We are star relations. We are starry woman, starry man, starry child. And that has been the message that has been coming through. And we have decided to incarnate as humans to realize our full potential. There is something so amazing in being a human, is that there are these universal laws that we agreed to when we incarnated coming here. We have the universal law of free will. Whoa! And this freedom that we have is something that we are still discovering again. We're discovering our freedom. We're having to struggle with our freedom in this world. We're telling people that they can and can't do things when really we need to figure out for ourselves what is our truth and what we can do with ourselves. The only person that can tell you what you can and can't do is yourself. We just have to release the programming that we've been living our entire lives, release it, and decide how we want to program ourselves and how we want to live in this life. And so with that, my friend Abby, again, who has just become such a beautiful reflection and mirror and star sister of mine and soul twin of you name it, but has been a really beautiful teacher in my life and friend in my life. She needed to make her way to Colorado after the Star Knowledge Conference. So she was looking for a ride, and we met up with our family, Jen and Brian Berryhill, who immediately stood out to us at this ceremony. And they said, we're going to Colorado, but we're going to be stopping at Sundance first. And so it seems like you need to go to Sundance, Abby. And so she came back to our camp and told us that she was going to go to Sundance. And as soon as she said that, I felt, oh my gosh, I'm going too. I need to go to Sundance too. I don't know why. I feel the call. And so Spirit called me, and we jumped in the car with Brian and Jen, and we made our way to South Dakota to the Yankton Sioux Reservation to spend some time with Chief Golden Light Eagle and his family to help them with interior building projects. And then from there we went to Iowa, where we sat in ceremony and supported the Sundance ceremony, and it changed everything. It was the first time that I connected with Spirit in a completely sober way, but also a way that was just felt like home. It felt like, oh my gosh, the spirits are talking to us, and we're receiving it, and how grateful I am to be welcomed into this community, this family of beautiful people holding ceremony and connecting with these star beings and teaching ancient traditions of the natives, and not having any discrimination towards me because I'm white, but seeing my heart and seeing that my heart is open to receive this. And this is a little bit vulnerable for me to talk about, because I know that I've ruffled some feathers with my commitment to this practice, but it's not just the Lakota tradition that I'm connecting to, but it's the star tradition, and it's this ancient universal law and this ancient universal way of who we are as our souls, without the human-made constructs and the human-made competition and walls that we've created between each other. We are spirits, we are souls. And so from Sundance, my life just completely catapulted in a new direction. I began traveling again, went back to Chicago, and with my sister Melissa made a trip down to the Cahokia Mounds and Garden of the Gods, where from our tent we hosted the Chicago Day of Healing after we did a beautiful ceremony in Chicago with the Flower of Life. And on that day we did meditations every hour on the hour with so many wonderful people from Chicago. I'm still so grateful for you all, for all who contributed to that. It has shifted my life in a big way. And then from there, we went back to Nashville to see my family and get my dog. And then we went over to Chattanooga to visit my sister, up to Asheville to just experience Asheville and go to the Blue Ridge Mountains. And then we went to Cincinnati. I was there for a month, where I helped my sister Carly and watched her house for her. From there, I went back to Chicago. I went out to Oregon with my beautiful former partner, Neil, and experienced the eclipse together, which was massive and a huge shift, and was something that was challenging and invigorating and taught me so many lessons about myself and where I wanted my path to go. Came back to Chicago, stayed there for 2 months, and then finally went on another pilgrimage out to Laguna to the 1111 conference with this Star Knowledge family. From there, Melissa and I traveled up and down the West Coast in California. We met our beautiful sister, well, maybe in a past life, but beautiful brother in this life, Travis, and picked him up and met so many wonderful people along the way, sharing spirit, sharing ceremony, where we finally landed in Colorado for the 1212 conference with Star Knowledge here it was in Golden. And when that ended, it became something where as soon as I got to Colorado, I was like, I'm moving here. I think I'm moving here. I'm going to move here in the spring. And the day that our whole group of people who came together for the Star Knowledge Conference, when we were all separating and having a hard time saying goodbye, when we all went our own ways, I realized I can't go yet. And I woke up that day with a fever, and I literally physically could not leave Colorado. I couldn't drive 16 hours to Nashville by myself. I needed to rest. So I called up Abby, who had just landed in a beautiful home here. This is where we are. Not that that gave you any idea of what was going on, but we landed in this place, and it ended up being, I stayed an extra week to get healthy, to heal, to purge whatever I was releasing during that illness. And then from there, in that week, I met up with Bobby Joe, who has a shop at Into the Mystic in Golden. And she was like, come float, do the float pod. It's a salt deprivation tank. It's going to make you feel better. And I did that, and I felt so good. And she was like, I need some help around the shop since you're not leaving for a week. You want to help out? And in that time, I got a job there. I found a sublet for a very affordable price. And before I knew it, Colorado had accepted me here, and I moved here. I didn't even know I moved here until I didn't go anywhere else. So this is what I've been doing since January. I've been living here at the Gargoyle Hotel for Young Wishes, with my beautiful roommates, Kim Doyle, who's just like a soul sister and such soul tribe and family. I have met Kamaya, who is also a beautiful sister on her path, who's now in Guatemala. I met Rachel, who's also another soul sister, who's been really helping us out with letting us sublet her room. And Abby and I have been doing it. We've been sitting in Sweat Lodge every week with our family, Jen and Brian, and Amanda, and Bobby Joe, and Chief, who live here, and really holding that space in ceremony. I've been holding workshops and classes and events at Into the Mystic, and then even here in Denver I've held one or two with Kim, and it's just felt like home, and I feel like I've stepped into my power, and I'm stepping in that direction. And it all started when I started listening to spirit, when I started listening to my higher self, when I said yes without knowing where I was going or how I was going to land, when I jumped and trusted myself that I was going to be able to fly, and that all of these masters and guides and guardians and angels and ancestors that have been telling me that they're supporting me showed up, and I felt supported, and I feel supported. And so now I'm in a space where it's March, and we're getting through the winter, the third day of the Sundance, which was a very challenging day. But now we are in the healing ceremony, and I'm going through a lot of understanding of myself as a healer. I've been holding space. I've transferred my license. I'm a massage therapist in Colorado. I've been leading Akashic sound meditations. I've been holding space for people in the Akashic realms to do these ceremonies and to do their own personal healing and do that personal work. And then finally, I have met these beautiful community members here, where I'm meeting people who are working with the cannabis medicine in a really sacred way, the Santa Maria medicine. And I've met up with this beautiful soul sister, Sophie, who is Colombian, and she's gathering of elders in Colombia this April. And so Spirit has led me to go down to Colombia with her and be there for 3.5 weeks. I will be leaving in mid-April and be coming back mid-May. And I will be helping to build on the land sacred temples, a kitchen, a community space where we can get together and gather and hold these ceremonies. And then all of the money that is going towards the tickets for people to join in this ceremony is going towards the flights and the transportation for these elders in South America. There was a big message that came through, that is coming through Sophie, that really resonates with me, about marrying the condor and the eagle energy, these two birds, the south, the shadow, the emotional side, and then the light, the north, and the Native American side, and keep marrying these ceremonies. And that's what's happening. We are Rainbow Tribe. We are seeing all of the colors of the rainbow, and without each and every single one of these colors, it wouldn't be a rainbow. And we need to be able to see the differences in each other and honor the differences in each other and respect that each individual person has their own path, and that they are an integral you know what I mean, integral, yeah, that. They're important. They are an integral part of the collective. As you are a part of this collective, and that's why building your own spirituality, that's why that message came through, as to why we need to find what works for us. We need to find how we contribute to this world. We need to stop putting our faith in a system that's breaking down, that's falling apart, and we need to decide how we want to build our lives, and we need to decide how we can honor and respect the other person who is building and growing their life, and how we can work together. So that's where this build your own spirituality came from. We're not going to do a meditation today. I just wanted to speak about this because this has been my journey and this has been my path. And if you're feeling like you're not knowing where you're going, or that things are shaking up for you, that's because it's happening. Spirit is asking you to listen to yourself. Spirit is asking you to tune in and listen to your heart, to get out of your head and to get out of all of the things that are separating us as a culture, to find your culture, to create your culture, to create what feels good for you, what connects you to spirit, what gives you that connection to yourself. So that's the message today. Find how you are spiritual. Find why it matters. How can you contribute? How can you stop being so codependent on a government that's not caring about you, on a system that's falling apart? We were talking about the education system a little bit earlier and how that's falling apart and how all these things are happening in school. And that's because it's time for us to rebuild our education system. And of course it's going to fall apart. Of course it's going to fall apart. Of course our healthcare system is going to fall apart because we're getting with the plant medicine and we're finding that these mushrooms and that these herbs and that all these different types of medicinal plants that have been here for ages are wanting us to work with them because these chemicals that we are putting in our bodies are killing us. They are making us live longer, sure, but we are not living longer, we are dying longer. And it is time for us to restore our bodies, to restore our humanness, to restore our connection to earth, to mother. We are of this earth, but we are also multidimensional beings that are major manifestors. We can manifest anything. Our thoughts are powerful. Our actions are powerful. And everything that comes into your life is what you have called into your life. So now is the time to come into awareness that you are powerful and you are calling these things into your life. So now you can decide what you want to call into your life. The thing that I decided that I wanted to call into my life was ceremony. I said, I want ceremony to come into my life in a big way. And it happened. And I'm so grateful for it. And I know that this is a part of my path. So thank you for listening to me, and thank you for hearing me and seeing where I am and what I'm doing. And I hope that you continue to go down your path and that you post videos on Facebook about what you're doing and how you're doing it and how spirit is coming into your life and what's working and what's not working and how you're processing and how you're seeing things and how you're releasing things and how you're moving through things and how you're growing. I hope that you continue to grow. I hope you continue to heal. I hope you continue to see that everyone is on their own paths and that the quickest way to freedom is through forgiveness of all the things that haven't worked out for you, forgiveness of all the things that didn't work when you thought they would, and letting them go and deciding that it's okay to start new and it's okay to check in with the ancient ways and to find what makes you whole. I'm going to breathe now. So thank you so much for tuning in and for listening to me. I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful Monday. I'll be tuning in next Monday, but it'll be a more organic fashion. I'm realizing that these meditations are needing to evolve in a different way. They can't be like they were before. They have to be different. And so tuning in with my guides and my guardians and my angels, it's time to just speak truth. And so that's what I'm here to do, and I'm here to hold space for you however you need to receive it and however you need to move through the things that have been holding you back, letting go of the programming and deciding what you want to program your life as. I love you all so dearly. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being on this journey, and thank you for doing the work. Aho, oha, wopila pidama, namaste. I love you.